Hi there, and welcome to the second Sunday of Lent, where we celebrate the Feast of the Transfiguration. At the Transfiguration, Jesus takes Peter, James, and John with him on a mountaintop, and he is glorified and transformed. With Jesus is Moses and Elijah. That's not by accident. For Moses, he was on Mount Sinai when he experienced God's presence in the burning bush. Moses also experienced God's presence when he received the Ten Commandments, and it was, yes, on Mount Sinai. Moses represents the law of the Old Testament. The prophets of the Old Testament are represented by Elijah, and he experienced God's presence on a mountain as well. He was running for his life as Jezebel was coming after him with her men. And on Mount Sinai, the same mountain as Moses experienced God's presence, Elijah experienced his presence in the whispering wind. So we know that going to the mountaintop can remind us of being close to God. Maybe you've had that experience when you've been on a great retreat, or maybe when you've come back from Catholic Heart and you're inspired to change the world. And that's really wonderful. What's unique about this experience is that for Peter, James, and John, they got to see Jesus transformed. Now, we think of transformed as glorified or elevated, but Jesus himself didn't change. Rather, Peter, James, and John were given the privilege of seeing an aspect of Jesus that they hadn't seen before. They get a glimpse of his glorified presence, a glimpse of his divinity. And that is more than enough for them, because that will infuse their hearts with Christ's love so that they can fulfill the purpose for which they were created. How about for you and me? Do we have those mountaintop experiences? Well, one place that we do have those mountaintop experiences is every time we go to Mass. The altar is the mountain, and there is Jesus elevated in the hands of the priest, and we get to witness his glorified presence in the Eucharist. And it may look like bread and wine, but as we know, it is the true body and blood of Christ. And when we receive Jesus in the Eucharist, it changes us. We are really the ones who are transformed. Now, Peter, James, and John, after they experienced Jesus on the mountain, they wanted to stay there. They didn't want to leave. And that kind of makes sense. But that's not the reason they had experienced Jesus on the mountain like that. Jesus takes them up to the mountain and allows them to see his glorified presence so that they will be strengthened to go down the mountain and witness Jesus' persecution, his crucifixion, and his resurrection. In our lives, it's the same way. When we receive Jesus in the Eucharist, it isn't intended just for us. Our relationship with God is just not a one-to-one relationship. God infuses our heart with his love for a purpose, and that purpose is to go out into the world and live his love. So this week, when you go to Mass and you see the transfigured Christ in the Eucharist, and you receive him in your heart, let it transform your heart. I'm going to try to let it transform mine. And then as we depart the church, know that we are actually being commissioned to go into the world and be instruments of his love. Thank you.